Hello everyone and welcome to the inaugural AutomaTitan Awards. Shut up, it's time for my top 5 games of 2017, but before we get into those, it's time for... Yes, it's time to mention a few games that didn't make the list, and first up is Prey. At the start of the year, this was by far my most anticipated game of 2017. And it even looked like it might replace BioShock as my all-time favourite game. But it didn't. And why didn't it? It wasn't the gameplay, which was fantastic. It wasn't the atmosphere, which was fantastic. It wasn't the story. Or rather, it was, but only the last bit of the story. Yes, it's another game ruined by a shitty cop-out ending, or, to put it in simple terms, then Mass Effect 3 the balls off of it. Next on the list of dishonourable mentions is... Dishonored, Death of the Outsider, the third game in the Dishonored franchise, and, if I'm honest, it's the weakest instalment. It had the potential to be the best of the three. It could have introduced some weird new powers just like Dishonored 2 did with Emily. But instead, we're gonna mash up our powers from Dode, Corvo and Emily, which felt like treading old ground, and then you literally tread old ground by visiting areas from Dishonored 2. Yeah, not a good year for Bethesda. Next we have Agents of Mayhem, a game that took the utterly brilliant Saints Row franchise and committed the unforgivable crime of taking everything good about those games and throwing it away, to make a game that was nicely safe for children under 5 and the terminally offended. Oh, and there was Battlefront 2 and Shadow of War. They could piss off as well. Right, that's the angry bit out the way. So let's begin the countdown of AutomaTitan's top 5 games of 2017. We start the list at number 5 with... Halo Wars 2. Which fixed every issue I had with the original Halo Wars. The campaign was fantastic and a lot of fun to play, but on top of that was the characters. There were characters I loved, like Alice, the glorious minigun-toting Spartan who was basically George with breasts. There were characters I utterly despised, and by that I mean Jerome, the man with a pathological need to blow up every wraith I told him to hijack. And then there was Yap Yap, the motherfucking destroyer, who is love. Now, we move on to number 4, and what we find is 3 separate games. It is, of course, Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. Yes, I know, it's technically 3 games, but fuck it, this is my list. The first time I booted her up, I just left it running for about a solid hour. And why? That's why. That music, like an instant happy memories button. Then there's the bastard bridge levels in the first game, the abused polar bear in the second game, and then the introduction of Coco in the third game. Basically, this game is here because this trilogy is my happy place. Also Ripperoo. Any game with Ripperoo automatically gets high marks. Now for number 3. I can only put this here because of a technicality, but it's a technicality I'm using because number 3 is motherfucking Doom. Now, I know what you're saying. Titan, that game came out last year, and you'd be right. But it also came out this year. How? It came out on the Nintendo Switch, so this totally counts and you can all shut up. Especially you, subtitle guy. So where do I begin with this? It's a game with a silent but really fucking angry protagonist who kills demons using all the guns and literally goes to hell, and the entirety of hell is terrified of him. Essentially, it's a survival horror where you are the unspeakable terrifying abomination. Also a soundtrack by Mick Gordon that sounds like Meshuggah, Pantera and Slayer played on chainsaws. Basically, any game that can make subtitled guy climax has to go on this list. So we're now on to the runner-up of the year, and well, this one might also be the biggest surprise of the year. You see, When this game originally came out, I dismissed it as something that was completely overhyped and promptly ignored it. However, I picked it up a little bit ago and I'm glad to say I was wrong, because this is a fucking fantastic game. Yes, the number 2 game of 2017 is Horizon Zero Dawn. The story of the game drew me in, the combat felt glorious, and if you haven't already, you need to pick this up, especially considering that the DLC recently came out and it's also brilliant. And so, we come to that moment. We've seen some modern classics so far, but now it's time for the big one. The best game of 2017 is Oxygen Not Included. Yes, it's the brilliant little colony simulator by Cly Entertainment, and I bloody love everything about it. I love the art style, I love the gameplay, I love the sheer creativity of it, and I love how really pissing hard it is until you know what you're doing. But would you like to know what I love most of all? I love that when the duplicate colonists get really annoying, which they will, because they're all functional retards, the game gives you so many ways to punish them. You could, for example, have them tunnel into an adjacent cave and fill the entire colony with chlorine. You could make them destroy their oxygen generating plants, so they all suffocate to death. You could make them destroy the toilets, so they all drown in an ocean of what can only be described as piss vomit. But why stop there? After all, you are a god to these duplicate morons, so have fun with it. Turn it from a cute looking colony builder into an exercise in horrific terror that would make Shodan from System Shock blush. And then, when all else fails, turn on the debug like the cruel and capricious god you are and end it in fire. And on that cruel twist of divine fate, it's time to end. Thank you very much for watching. I am AutomaTitan, and remember the moral of the story. What's the point in living? What's the point in anything if you can't punish retards with lava?